is Monday. Swing for the fences. What's going on, everybody? Happy Monday to you. Hope you all had a great weekend. I know I did. We'll ask DC and Big T about theirs in just a couple of minutes. It's everybody's favorite show of the week because it's Game Log Monday. We're going to evaluate the slate based on solely what the players have done in their last couple of games, and you will enjoy it. But we'll also talk about projections, matchups, things like that. We got a lot to talk about here on this slate because I think the rest of this season is going to be this way. There's going to be a couple of teams that you're not going to be able to full fade their opponents the rest of the way. Some teams have just committed so hard to sucking this year and trading away every last possible good pitcher that it's going to be hard to ignore those spots. And we have one on this slate. We had one on Friday's slate, DC. I was under on the Coors game Friday night, which means that my night was over right around the first inning on Friday. And that's okay. I live with those decisions, but then you go back and you evaluate and you say, maybe I just have to play the team that's facing the Rockies. We'll get into all that, but how are you doing on this Game Log Monday?
I'm doing great. Always excited to kick off the week with Game Log Mondays. Get you, after the weekend. I play DFS, but I also unplug just a little bit. But Mondays, we're locked back in on baseball Game Log Mondays. We got a month from football, 4 weeks before the first NFL game of the season. I know we're all looking forward to that. Everybody watching this, I'm sure, is looking forward to that. But we still got 2 solid months of regular season baseball, plenty of money to be won, plenty of arguments to be had on this show, and excited to get into it all.
Big T, DC mentioned it, a month before football. We're going to have deals. We're going to have specials going on. And, of course, you know what that means. With Red Zone moving to the NFL, the ESPN collection of networks, it's just 4 weeks until Jada Pinkett Smith welcomes us to Red Zone. How was your weekend? What are you doing today, Big T?
I wondered about that news, too. So what does that actually mean? Like, that's this year that it's going to be on ESPN?
No more Scott Hansen?
Well, I know that. I read all
No. It's a joke about how ESPN ruins everything that they tell. So that's all right. That's all right.
I got the joke, JT. I understood that.
DC did not. DC was
listen. I'll lock it
in.
But I was wondering though. So this year, right away. So
I'm not sure if it's this year. I honestly don't know the answer to that question. Usually, it's not. I think maybe this was it could be because it's the NFL's own product. So if they
what are they going to do though? Like they're literally just going to put it on like the main network, ESPN. Just you turn on ESPN and it's on there.
I have not been privy to the plans.
They will get like insane ratings if they plop that on ESPN. Like
unless they ruin it. I mean, they could ask A-Rod to go ahead and host
it. Not do it how they've always done it. They know exactly what they have to do. If they ruin it, they're idiots.
I'll tell you what, if they put Alex Rodriguez and Michael Kay on the mics, I'll no longer tune into Red Zone no matter what.
Yeah, but totally agree with you guys. I love Mondays. We come into Game Log Mondays. We always get good contests on for whatever reason too. I like the contest best on Mondays. I don't know why it's not like that other days of the week, but I just love what they put out on Mondays for us. We get good contests, shorter slate, everything from Mondays. So
maybe the only thing worse than Michael Kay and A-Rod, but go on.
And the slate tonight's going to be somewhat tough, I think. We were talking a little bit before the show, but man, we have definitely the most chalky spot I've seen on a Monday. I don't know how I'm going to get away from it, but I don't know. We're going to talk through it. Maybe we'll find some spots you can pivot to, but man, it looks like our team we've talked about every Monday, Toronto. We've loved them in normal spots. We've loved them in bad spots even, and now they get the ultimate spot. It's tough not to, but man, are they going to be high owned, like crazy high owned. So it's going to be some interesting conversation as we go through.
Absolutely. As always on Monday, if you have any questions, drop it in the chat about tonight's slate, about baseball, about Mina Kimes, about anything in particular. We'll go ahead. We'll try to get to that. We see Beanair is in here. Did not know he was a huge fan of Alex Rodriguez, but that's good to know. We'll keep that in the back of our minds as we get into this slate. And here's the other thing. It's kind of cool around the U.S. right now. That heat wave that we had a couple of weeks ago has passed. It's been raining all day here in Atlanta. A little bit worried about the game down here. We'll talk about that when we get to it, Big T. But we'll start with you. The first game of the night is in Queens and Citi Field. The Guardians going in to play the Mets. Slate Ciccone at 8,400 against Sean Manaea. Manaea 9,500. He did get up to 86 pitches in his last start. He's been kind of grinding back up on the pitch count. He's got a 30% plus strikeout rate, and the Guardians have done very little against left-handed pitching. So the 9,500 feels a little bit expensive, but I do think he's potentially worth it here in this spot in a very cool Citi Field. Guardians Mets, Big T, to kick us off.
Yeah, definitely an interesting spot out of the gate just because of the pitching. Sean Manaea, I've always looked at as a little bit of a wild card. He's been good at times and nitpicks the corners and stuff. But, man, he's looked pretty good this year. And the matchup is great against Cleveland. They can't hit lefties. So I think it's a pretty good spot, and it shouldn't be. I mean, looking at the ownership, you're looking at 15% range ownership, not that high. The price point feels high a little bit for Manaea, but I think the matchup, like Cleveland's a good team, but they're really bad versus lefties. You don't worry about their power that much. So it seems like a great spot there. The weather, like you said, looks good for pitchers. In the 70s or something in New York? Nothing crazy there heat-wise. So it looks good. I don't ever really like – even Cleveland when they were in good spots this weekend, I didn't love it. I don't love their lineup. So seems like a good spot with Manaea. And I think some people will like the Mets, and this is kind of my example for the whole show. I want to talk myself into the Mets, but, man, I don't love the park. Sessione, or however you say his name, is decent, even though he doesn't strike out a ton of guys. I just have a hard time playing Mets at these prices over a team like Toronto, and that's going to be the whole slate. Like, can we pivot some of Toronto to the Mets? I don't know. I don't love this spot either way. I like the pitching more than the hitting. I'm not going to play Sessione or anything, but I don't love this game outside of some one-offs.
You're saying his name perfectly correctly, by the way, so don't worry about that. DC.
Our show's so good on Mondays, though, that I don't know if you're telling me the truth or if you're trolling me when you say that. So that's good, though. That's why our show's good, because I don't know if you're serious or not.
Would I lie to you?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's very upsetting. That's very upsetting. I'm going to ignore that and move over to you, DC. Just because we got 9 games to talk about, I could talk about how hurtful that is for a while. Juan Soto, 5,800 here. He's in another slump. This has not been a good season for him moving over to Citi Field. I mean, the surface stats, home runs, okay, RBIs, but, man, he just seems to go through these dry stretches. What are your thoughts on this first game of the night?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, JG, not only would you lie to Big T, but I think he's fair to question if you are, just on any piece of information you slide over his way. So I got to side with Big T early on if we're keeping score over here. I think
DC at 2. This is
yes. A lot of what Big T said. I mean, it's the question of which of these offenses, if Toronto has a good but not great day, which of these offenses could maybe beat them, right? Even if they do put up their 7 or 8 projected runs. I don't know if the Mets are the team to do that. Obviously, a tough place to hit, one of the better pitching environments on the slate. So I'm kind of off the offenses in general here. I like Manaea a little bit. I do have him below both Fried and Tyler Glasnow, but I think it's pretty close between those 3 guys. I have no problem with Manaea's ownership. What do we say? Around 15%, we think, something like that. For Sean Manaea, that feels fair to me at 9,500. The price tag, I think, is a little much. And, this slate, obviously a big question mark is when you pay up for pitching, you are sacrificing probably some of the bigger bats. And then we're talking about trying to get Toronto into our lineup. So there is a sacrifice to be made paying up for pitching. But yeah, Manaea does feel like one of the safer options on the slate. I do think he's got pretty good strikeout upside in this matchup. And it's just not a scary team. I mean, it's really Jose Ramirez, right? He's really the only scary bat in the entire lineup. So I do think you got to like Manaea some here. Not playing I don't think any Guardians outside of maybe a Jose Ramirez one-off. And the Mets full stack, I think, is okay. But, you're paying just as much as a Toronto stack for it. So it's just kind of hard to do, I think, on this slate. Hard way to the top. So mostly off this game, I think Manaea, the best overall play in this game.
The only point I'll make about the Mets here, and again, I agree with you guys. I'm not in love with the stack here. I think there are better spots. But if you wanted to make an argument for the Mets, you would say not because of trades, but because of suspensions. The Guardians bullpen is certainly nothing to be concerned about. But again, this park has let us down all season long, it seems like. So I'm with you guys here. If I get some Mets, I'll play some Mets. Otherwise, I'm not going out of my way to get them. We'll move on to the next spot here. It's the Royals heading into Boston. Bailey Falter, a new acquisition for Kansas City. He's 5,800 tonight against the Red Sox. Brian Bello, 7,800 here, DC. Again, 80 degrees, maybe a little bit cooler at game time in Boston. And one of the wildest comments I've seen in Discord in some time, I opened it up this morning, got a little break around 10:30, and our friend Joe Cole says, I'm playing Bailey Falter tonight. And that's kind of a wild thing to say at any point. Like, he's a guy, if he makes it into your lineups for 5-10%, sometimes maybe you stick with it. But at 10 a.m., DC, do you think there's some drug use in Joe Cole's life?
Hopefully not. It's a little early to get the party started on the new week on Monday morning. But yeah, I mean, if you're talking Bailey Falter, I think that's a fair question.
It's kind of a great 10 a.m. before lunch on a Monday.
Yes.
I mean,
at least get some food in you first. Yeah, I'm with you though, JT. I don't see myself playing Falter. I do think there's some cheaper pitchers worth considering, but Falter didn't make the cut for me. I guess you could make the argument, there's quite a bit of swing and miss in the Red Sox lineup, but I think this is a game you want to look at for offense. And we've talked, at least in my eyes, I think both of these offenses are more likely to get there than, say, the Mets are, because you do have Fenway Park. It's a great place to hit. And we do see this stadium in friendly hitting conditions, looks pretty good tonight, have a lot of high-scoring games in Fenway Park over the years. We've all seen it. I don't think these are maybe the two best offenses on the slate, but Bayo, Falter, this feels a game like to me that, could end up being 9-8 or 10-6, something like that. So I do like both these offenses. I actually like the Red Sox side a little bit better against Falter, who I don't fear at all. And we know this Red Sox team can do a lot of damage in Fenway. So I like the Red Sox. I think they've got upside, can pretty much play, I think, 1 through 9 there. And then the Royals, more as a contrarian option, but a nice park upgrade here, going from Coffin to Fenway, a good contact team. And, Bayo's got some talent for sure in his arm, but to me, he seems like a front runner, right? Like in the right matchups when things look good. He had that big outing against the Rockies, of course, in Fenway. When you put him against a better offense, though, an offense that makes contact, that will work counts at least a little bit, I do think he's a pitcher who is capable of some pretty big implosions, which is obviously what we're looking at, especially when we're trying to find a team that could match the Blue Jays. So give me both offenses here. I think we see runs tonight in Fenway.
Big T, is this a spot where you could say, I'll pivot and play some of these 5-man stacks, or do you see maybe one of these pitchers that you're interested in?
I'm definitely not going to the pitchers. You got two guys that don't strike anyone out. The Royals don't strike out, so that really eliminates Bayo for me. But this Red Sox lineup against a contact lefty seems like a nice pivot off Toronto for me. I mean, I look at this lineup, like DC said, they got 2 lefties in there, which doesn't even matter against a guy like this, but only 2 lefties in there, a bunch of good righties, some cheap batters in there too at the bottom that you can throw in there if you have to. Romy Gonzalez, like Steve's been talking about in the chat, Barry Bonds against lefties. I agree. I mean, man, the top of this lineup where you got Romy, Bregman's always good against lefties. Story's been good this year. Rafaela's been awesome this year. It's just a good spot, I think. Definitely one of the premier. This is what happens on these slates, though. And so some of my biggest success in baseball and DFS has been just shoving Toronto in these spots because of stuff like this. This is where, like, all the pivots, everyone pivots to the same teams too. So, like, if you play 5 teams, everyone's like, okay, I'll play one Boston. I'll play one Milwaukee. I'll play one whoever, Kansas City. And then all of a sudden you're down to only 2 Toronto of your 5, which is fine. But would you rather have 2 or I don't know. I just have had success kind of when everyone wants to find a pivot, just full shove the main spot, and it's worked. But, man, this spot looks good for a pivot. I can see why people do it. I don't know what Falter going from a bad team to a decent team does. I mean, maybe he gets a little boost going to Kansas City, pitching in a premier spot like this. This is his first start, right, with Kansas City?
It is his first start. Definitely a part downgrade for him, considering pitching most of the time at PNC in Pittsburgh, now going up to Fenway.
I totally agree. I think I was trying to see. So what the team total for these guys is? They both got a pretty good team total. I know Saber likes both, almost a 10-run total. Let me see. So at DraftKings Sportsbook, we got 9.5 and the under. So juice on the under. It's kind of my point though. Like Sabres got us at 10, 9, between 9.5 and 10, but the juice is favored on the under. I think this spot is going to be chalkier than people think, just because people want pivots off. So I do like Boston, but I'm still in between on what I want to do with this slate with the way Toronto is. Great spot. The pricing is fair too. Everybody in the 4K is not a single guy over 5, which is nice off of Toronto. I like it. And then, I mean, Kansas City's just tough for me. They don't have a ton of power. Bayo doesn't strike a ton of guys out, but he also, I think he matches up decent against this team. I'm not going to play him or anything, but I doubt I have much Kansas City. It's just not a lineup. I mean, look at the bottom of this thing. Whew. I mean, Yastrzemski, this is always my favorite doing these shows after the week of the trades. I see guys on new teams, and you guys can make fun of me all show where guys just pop up. Like Yastrzemski's on the Royals now. I know I saw him this weekend. It's not the first time, but still, first time I've done a show with him there. I mean, this lineup's brutal. So I'll have a little Boston, maybe more than a little, depending on how the slate ends up. But man, it's tough for me to go to Kansas City. I probably should consider Bayo a little bit, honestly, with the way this lineup looks. He's just not going to strike anyone out.
Yastrzemski did hit a home run in his first at bat with Kansas City. I don't think he did much after that this weekend, though. So you're okay for not remembering that he was there. That's fine. That's not a big deal. Adam Frazier reunited. John Rave was hot for like a week, and then I don't think he's done anything else. Kyle Isbell hasn't been hot since T-ball. We'll move on to the next game, which is here in Atlanta, and boots on the ground. It's been overcast, damp, and just kind of crappy all day long. It'll sprinkle for a few minutes. Hasn't really rained hard all day. I think this is going to be the case all night long, which makes this game interesting to talk about, at least from the Milwaukee side, for 2 reasons. One, Quinn Priester, 8,900, starting this game for the Brewers. He's been a different pitcher, Big T, since his trade over to Milwaukee. Something to keep in mind that all of a sudden they're turning into a pitching factory again, where they just churn out these guys who just become absolute studs on the mound. And then you've got the Braves, Eric Fetty, 5,500. Also, Austin Riley back on the IL this morning. So now, not that the lineup was all that much better with Austin Riley, but it just gets a little bit worse it gets a lot worse with Nacho Alvarez in the lineup. Brewers, Braves, Big T. The ball not really going to fly here. It is cool in the mid-60s, probably a little bit cooler than that by the time we get into the 3rd, 4th inning. Looks like the Brewers are going to be the second most popular team on the slate. What are you thinking about with this one?
Yeah, I mean, these lineups look rough to me. I know Milwaukee's been good, but I still look at it, and I just don't love it. And on top of it, you got weather. I always try to stay clear of shaky weather. I'm not saying it's not going to play or something. It's not that strong in my opinion, but it's at least questionable. And if I don't love a spot, again, on these slates, you got to show me something to get me off Toronto, because I have no problem just playing Toronto and mixing and matching stuff. So, I mean, I look at this Milwaukee lineup against Fetty. I always want lefties against him. I look, and I don't know, like there's not a ton that sticks out. You got price points that are good. And exactly what JT said is how I feel. People are going to pivot to this spot. It'll be the second highest owned. The dude in the chat loves the BVP, which, again, I'm a BVP guy. I like it more than most. But I look at the BVP, and I don't see the same. They got 2 home runs off of him total. 80 at-bats, only 2 home runs. They got a bunch of hits. Don't get me wrong.
Would you say that's fake news? That's fake because we can put them in time.
I hate making fun of BVP. I do because I'm a BVP guy, and they do have a lot of hits. I mean, they're hitting freaking 425 off of him, but there's only 2 home runs. Yeah. I don't love the lineup. I don't love that they're going to be the second highest owned. I'll just use my same example because it's how I do this slate. Like if I got 5 teams, I got 4 teams tonight personally, 4 or 5 teams. Do I really want to use a team on Milwaukee over Toronto? And I'm just going to keep saying it over and over. I don't know if I want to go to – I don't love this lineup. And I'm definitely not going to Atlanta. If the weather was perfect, I think Priester would be one of the better pitchers on the board. I'm a little worried about his price. I'm a little bit worried about the weather, so I doubt I go to much of him. But, man, like you said, JT, this lineup for Atlanta is just getting worse and worse. You got Nacho, Nick Allen, Eli White. Albies hasn't been great. I mean, I've been with you most of the year. I just think Atlanta – I like slates where Atlanta's popular because everyone still likes Atlanta like they're good. I mean, look at this lineup. It's so freaking bad. You got all their good guys out except Olsen. I can't imagine going to Atlanta here. So I'm not going to actually be on much in this game, though. With the weather, I'm just going to ignore it for the most part. Everybody's talking to me about these game logs. They're good. They're awesome. And it's Game Log Monday, so maybe I should. So they're BVP. I'm bucking trends here today. The BVP and the game logs like Milwaukee. And I'm saying not to do either. That's not going to be good. Milwaukee's probably the winner tonight with me going against this stuff.
I don't even know what to say. I mean, I'm kind of speechless. They've got BVP. They've got a terrible pitcher. The game logs, first of all, I think they scored 30 runs over the weekend. And that's just Saturday and Sunday.
You're going to have to drug test me. Something's wrong with me here.
You would piss hot right now, I think.
I would definitely fail a drug test right now for sure.
All right. But. We're actually spending too much time on this shitty game, DC. Talk to us, though. Quinn Priester is a guy. I will tell you this. You see this Braves lineup, and I'm kind of tempted here. Like I said, the weather, I think the rain here is more annoying than anything else, which is kind of good for a pitcher as opposed to a batter. Because, the batter, they're going to be wiping their bats and taking their helmets off and all this other nonsense. Pitchers just got to get a new dry baseball every pitch, which they give them anyway. Quinn Priester's been outstanding. Can't believe that he's not going to mow this Braves lineup, DC. What are your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I have no problem with Priester. 8,900 again. The price tag looks like a lot, but he's earned it. He's pitched well. Matchup's good against this Braves team. Park, good place to pitch tonight, it looks like. So, yeah, I think Priester – very reasonable play at that $8,900 price tag. I'm with you guys. I'm off the Braves offense. Doesn't seem like the spot for them to win a slate tonight. I kind of got back on them when they got, Acuna back and he was doing his thing. He's back out of the lineup. Riley's gone. This team is, they're dead in the water at this point. It doesn't seem like a team to win this 9-game slate. So I'm out on the Braves offense. Mm-hmm. The Brewers offense, though, I do think is one of the teams that's got the potential to put up a big score. I mean, just for one, of course, just look at what they've done recently, playing awesome baseball. They seem locked in as a group, and they do seem like one of the better teams that performs better as a stack than they do one-offs. I don't think you're going to get necessarily a ton of home runs here, but I mean, Fetty is very, very bad. I don't think he's going to improve at the Braves. I mean, they just, with the injuries to Sale and Schwellenbach, they just need some pitchers to eat innings. So that's Fetty's job right now. That's a pitcher I want to target against. And then the other thing with Fetty, he's been one of the easiest pitchers to steal bases against in all of baseball. 25 steals allowed on the season. The Brewers love to run. I mean, Turang, Yelich, Collins, and then even at the bottom of the order, 2 dirt cheap guys, Lockridge, Ortiz, both will take off. And then you got some power. I mean, Andrew Vaughn out of nowhere has been one of the best hitters in baseball over the last couple of weeks, right in the middle of it. He's $3K. And these prices are reasonable. I mean, Yelich, the only semi-expensive bat in their lineup at 4,600. So this is a team where I think you'll see them taking off, trying to steal bags early and often in this game. If we think Priester's going to pitch well, you could have a situation where the Brewers put up 4, 5, 6 runs on Fedde early. The Braves wave the white flag, and maybe you have one of those games where the Brewers just keep piling it on. We've seen it in the last 3 games. They're not hesitant to keep after it, keep their foot on the gas deep into the game, which is something that I think you want on this slate, where we do expect the top stacks to perform well, obviously, in particular the Blue Jays. So I'm in on this Brewers team. I really like most of this lineup, and I think there's kind of hidden upside, especially with the stolen base potential in this lineup.
All right, one note here, Anthony Siegler. Looks like you're not getting any of him, Big T, in your first run. He was subbed out early yesterday. Not sure why they're playing him over Durbin, who was good earlier this season. But just a note on that, if you're going to go ahead and play this game heavy, looks like Siegler is a guy to not get all that focused on. Uncle T is in chat, and yeah, Quinn Priester, highest price point on the season, but not by a lot. I think he was 86, 87. Now he's 89. It'd be different if he was 11K or like 10-2 in this spot. Then I'd be worried about the price. And then Braves coming out of Bristol. I don't know, Uncle T, because no other team has played at Bristol and then come out of Bristol. So really nothing I can use to gauge whether or not that's a disadvantage. But we've got the Reds in the next game, DC. They head from Bristol into Chicago. Nick Lodolo, 8,700. He is taking on Michael Soroka at 7K. Soroka's first start with the Chicago Cubs. Looks like Soroka is going to get some ownership. Lodolo going to get none. Lodolo, 4 straight games, I believe it is, over 20 fantasy points. The one before that was 19. 42 points against the Nationals a couple of starts ago. He's been very good and had a good start against the Cubs in Chicago earlier this season as well. Now he gets the Cubs on a cool night in Chicago with the wind blowing in. Your thoughts on this game, Chicago hosting Cincinnati?
Lodolo's been awesome. I mean, he's a pitcher I've liked the talent for a long time, and it kind of seems like it's coming together for him, but I just don't know if this is the spot against the Cubs. They've got one lefty in the entire lineup, and it's Kyle Tucker. The rest of the team swinging from the right side against the lefty Lodolo, mostly low strikeout rates and mostly, really good hitters against lefties for the most part in this Cubs lineup. So wind blowing in at Wrigley, that makes me not super excited to play the Cubs, even as a contrarian stack against Lodolo. But I don't love Lodolo himself, even though I do like Lodolo, but just not in this matchup. I like Priester better, like some of the higher price pitchers better. And then I do think, as we've mentioned, there are some pretty decent cheap options. So Lodolo not making the cut for me, but the real story in this game is the ownership of Soroka. I mean, right now, Sabres got him as clearing the rest of the starting pitcher field by a decent amount. They've got, I don't know if this will be exactly true, of course, but I mean, right now they got Soroka at 38% ownership. Next highest coming in around 30, 25%, something like that. That's just chalk that I'm not eating. I'm happy to ride with the field, hold hands on Vlad Guerrero and Addison Barger. On Mike Soroka, maybe not so much. So, yeah, the matchup is fine. I'm not a believer in Soroka. I'm not even sure he's really, fully healthy right now. And even in this good matchup against the Reds, I just don't see it. I mean, matchup doesn't trump anything. And even look at, Tyler Glasnow, who's massive chalk against the Reds last time out. He put up a dud. So it can happen to any pitcher at any time. And certainly Soroka is no exception to that, even in, a pretty good matchup against the Reds. It's not like this is a complete walkthrough matchup for Soroka. So people, it's the total here, right? You see a low total in Wrigley Field because of the weather. I'm not convinced on Soroka. So I'll leave Soroka to the field. If he, gets the job done at 7K, so be it. I'm fine with that. I don't really think his upside is all that high anyway. And I think his floor is, it easily could go into the negatives. I think in any matchup could Mike Soroka. So I'm off of him, but I'm mostly off of the bats in this game. I do wonder if Soroka is going to be that popular. Maybe Ellie De La Cruz one-off makes some sense. Try to get the player most likely to do the damage against him into your lineup, I do think is a good way to go. But for the most part, off of this game in Wrigley Field for me.
Big T, the Reds and the Cubs, Gavin Lux is back in the lineup. I know that you're a fan of Gavin's, and I'm wondering what you're thinking about this game in Wrigley Field.
Yeah, it looks like clear pitchers for me. It is. I do agree with DC, though. Soroka, you look at his game logs for Game Log Monday, just terrible game logs. No pitches. I don't think he's great either. This is his first start with the new team, though. I think he'll be a little better here. They might even extend his leash more. That Washington was playing it safe with him. That's where he was, right? Washington.
That's
or did
right.
I say it wrong?
Excellent job. Excellent job.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, I think it's pitchers, though. And, man, Lodolo, I played him he's the reason I won the belt a few years ago in that final because he went off. And he has been just mowing. So, like, I have to play him out of respect. I know it's a tough matchup. I don't love the matchup by any means. I do agree with DC's points on they don't really strike out looking at their numbers. Nothing really makes sense from playing him. The price point doesn't either, except for how good he's been. Like, he has just been so freaking good. And like they're saying in the chat, one of the best umpires for pitchers is there. So you got the weather in your favor, the umpire in your favor, and the upside in your favor. I have to play a decent amount of Lodolo tonight. But the crazy part is, like, you look at the K props, Lodolo's K prop is less than Soroka's. So, like, it's just weird, which is why the ownership's going to be the way it is too, though. People aren't going to play Lodolo. People are going to play Soroka. And it's one of those things, too, that everyone all day keeps talking about how popular he's going to be. I wonder if he comes in lower than people think. Just because everyone's saying the same thing we are, where he sucks, he's this and that. But with the optimizers like SaberSim these days, they're pretty accurate, the numbers, where they get a pretty good feel for where the numbers should be. So I'm sure he'll end up in the 30s or so. But I don't know. I'm on the pitchers. I can't really get any of these hitters. I like both sides of the pitchers. So I was trying to make a case for Ellie. I could always play Ellie. I take that back. I could always play Ellie with DC. And I think I need to do that more. Like, in these spots, I've been pulling, like, the really good hitters out. I need to just leave them in because who can win you a slate? Ellie De La Cruz can always win you a slate. So, yeah, give me the pitchers. Give me a few one-offs, but nothing crazy here.
Brittany points out that the Reds have some recent data on Mike Soroka because he did pitch against them 10 days ago. He put up 17-something fantasy points. If you got 17 points out of 7K Soroka tonight, you would probably be happy with it. Unfortunately, pitchers like Soroka, when a team sees him and then sees him the week later, it usually doesn't go quite as smoothly the second time around. So I will tell you right now, my plan is to, at a minimum, cut that 38% quite a bit in terms of my exposure to him. There's a pitcher who's cheaper than him who's got a 30% strikeout rate over the last month that no one's talking about. We will talk about him later. And we will get to this next game, Big T, which is in Texas. It's the Yankees. After a weekend sweep at the hands of the surging Miami Marlins, head into Texas. Max Fried, 10-2 against Patrick Corbin, 7,600. Corbin rejuvenating his career in Texas. What do you think about the Yankees and the Rangers? I know you're probably not going to like any bats in this park, but talk to us.
Yeah, and it's crazy how good Corbin's been. I know we've made fun of him for a long time, but he's been good this year. At some point, you got to take a step back. And again, we've done these shows for a long time, the three of us. And when you get past the midpoint of the year, if a guy's been good, I tend to just think he might be good, even if we think he's not. If a batter's been bad all year, they're probably bad that year. Like, I don't know what it is. Could be injury, could be a lot of things. But he looks good to me, and I don't think you can really pick on him. And it is funny looking at all the Yankees, like Rosario. I can name the names each team that I didn't know they were on there until right at this moment. But Rosario is definitely one of them. It's like the game DC always likes to play with me where, like, food and stuff, we say, which name did Big T not know is on the Yankees? It would definitely be Rosario for this case.
Right. Now this one is interesting, though, because it's got to be tempting for you with all these platoon guys in this lineup. Rosario, Slater, Caballero, Goldschmidt should be a platoon player at this point in his career. But The other part of this, Big T, is half this lineup's going to be gone when Patrick Corbin leaves the game.
Yeah. And it's tough. Like I definitely used to like the platoons more than I do now, but even more so in this case because some of those names that I just unchecked because they're not starters are just good bats. Like they're gonna come right in, and like Slater, I just haven't played him much. I like Corbin, like I said, so I'm not gonna go crazy. Yankees get a park downshift too. Obviously, Yankee Stadium's way better than where Texas plays, so. I don't know. I'm definitely not on the Yankees here. Will I play a little bit of these cheaper guys? Like, there's no way I'm playing Bellinger. I'm not playing Stanton at this price. I could play. I'm not playing. Definitely not playing Jazz at 5,300. I mean, some of these cheaper guys, definitely not playing him. I mean, you could leave these splits guys in your thing for just one-offs and stuff, but I don't like them. And then you look at the Texas side. I'm not playing these guys against Fried. I mean, like 3,500 for Garcia. You
Texas,
can do that.
By the way, Texas starting to hit the ball. I don't know. I
can't play him against Fried on this slate, though. I just can't do it. I do look. I think Texas is a sneaky team as they get healthier. They look pretty good to me as far as making a run, but I just don't ever play bats against Fried. He's just tough. He's a handful. So I definitely won't have much Texas.
All right. DC, the Yankees in Texas, it had been a struggle for a while with Fried. He had the blister. He got blown up by Toronto. He rebounds with a good game his last outing. Did throw 111 pitches in that one. What are your thoughts here on the Yankees and the Rangers?
Yeah. The pitch count for Fried last time out a little bit concerning, up to 111 there. That was against Tampa, where I think he started off pretty rough and then really kind of cruised in the last 5 or 6 innings. Like Fried does. I mean, he's one of those pitchers that's capable of turning around a bad start and turning it into a good one. I don't think there's that many pitchers that, usually when you put up a -6 or 7 in the first inning, it's tough to get back going. But Fried is one of those guys who can do it. I do like Fried. I do think Fried is the safest pitching option on the board today, but you're paying for it at 10.2K. And he's not normally a pitcher that I love paying the full fright for just because he's not as good of a strikeout upside as most pitchers that are priced 10K or above. It's just true with Max Fried, a better real life pitcher than he is fantasy option. But on this slate, I do think the safety kind of goes a long way. I don't think we're going to see that many big scores out of pitchers. So, I think the 20 to 25 that I kind of expect out of Fried could be enough on this slate to be one of the top 2 pitchers on the night. So I do like Fried. Not a full shove on Fried. He's just too expensive with a little bit muted upside to really get in on him. But at his ownership, what are we looking at? 20% for Max Fried. Yeah, I think I'll be over the field on that. Probably 30, 40% on my lineups with Max Fried. So I do like him. Bats here. I mean, speaking of game logs, Paul Goldschmidt, man, he has not done anything. Like, he's got the ugliest game log I've ever seen. It's like 0 in half the games, almost never even gets to double digits. He could be pinch hit for in this game. And I kind of think he's like the best play on the Yankees. So I'm kind of out on the Yankees here. I like Stanton a little bit facing Corbin, who's going to give up power to righties, even if he's a little bit revitalized. And then, I mean, if you wanted to go to guys like Langford, Garcia, I think they're okay, but I just think they're a better spot. So mostly Fried in this game for me.
And you hit the nail on the head about my biggest concern with Fried is that 10-2 price tag, 18% strikeout rate over the last month. He's never been a huge strikeout guy. It's been a guy that can go 7 innings, give up a run or less, get the win. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It seems a little bit high on this slate, so I'm not sure exactly how much I'm going to have of Fried. But we'll move on, DC, because this is the game that everybody's going to want to talk about. Everybody's going to want to hear about. It's the Blue Jays, who we have liked, as Big T mentioned on these Mondays. We've been talking about this offense, and they were doing work in their home ballpark. It's not known to be a great hitter's ballpark. Now they go to the Mecca, Colorado, where it's going to be close to 90 degrees at game time. There's a slight wind blowing out. The Rockies that gave up, 300 runs this weekend to the Pirates of all teams. And now you've got the Blue Jays going in there. Eric Lauer, 6,300. Tanner Gordon, 4.8K. Tanner Gordon, now, again, we're talking about a 5-game sample. Gordon, the only pitcher in the history of Coors Field to have a 4-run lower ERA at home so far this season. Again, 5 games. We're not really looking too deep into that. Got to be a slate where you like the Blue Jays, DC.
Yeah, I mean, it has to be. And I don't think, after, what is it, 30 years, 35 years in Coors Field, I don't think Tanner Gordon is the one that cracked
I don't think he's going to break the streak?
Yeah, solved Coors Field. So I'm not too worried about the splits with Tanner Gordon. And, I'm also not in the business of betting overs on 7 totals like Toronto has. But if you put a gun to my head, I think I would take the over on 7 runs for the Blue Jays here against Tanner Gordon. And this just awful bullpen behind him. And you see so many times where even if the Blue Jays, you can just picture the Discord 2-3 innings in and the Blue Jays aren't doing anything.
Can't be in Discord tonight. Listen, I can tell you this. Many of the cores are going to have Blue Jays. My core is likely going to have Blue Jays. Big T looks like it. DC looks like it. I'm shutting the fucking phone off at 7:05 whenever the slate starts. I'm going to eat dinner. I'm going to enjoy myself because even before the game starts, people are going to be quiet.
Yeah. The Discord once the game starts. We've got similar feelings on that, JT. But these Blue Jays, you just have to like them. I think against it's a perfect matchup, perfect park. Everything's going for them. It's just, are they overowned compared to what you think their chances of being on the winners are? All of us think no. I think they've got it. They're going to be 25, 30% owned. I think they are just that likely, or maybe even more, to end up on the winner. So I'm in on the Blue Jays. Whole lineup honestly looks pretty good to me. Obviously, the heart of it, Guerrero, Barger, Kirk, that 3-4-5. If I had to narrow it down, it would be those 3 bats that I would prioritize. But I think the 5-man Blue Jay stack is, if you want to simplify things, you're playing one lineup. I think you could do a lot worse than plugging 5 Blue Jays in there. Yeah. And going from there, I think you got a pretty good chance if that's your build tonight. So I'll certainly have plenty of Blue Jay stacks. And then to the other side of it, where I like both sides of this matchup, JT's pitcher with a high strikeout rate. I think that might have been Mr. Eric Lauer, who I've been pretty high on. No, you have a different guy?
Nope. Someone else.
But yeah, Lauer's been good. I've been on the Lauer train. I think he's underrated by the DFS public, by projections right now. The strikeout rate looks good. And interestingly for him, the strikeout rate actually goes up against opposite-handed, right-handed hitters, which I believe is this entire Rockies lineup is right-handed, which against most lefties, that would concern me more. For Lauer, I'm not sure that's a bad thing. That said, this Rockies team, for all their flaws, they got a lot of power against lefties. I think, JT, you mentioned you were under on Friday night. I think that's when all these righties, I think I was close to winning the slates on those nights. Yeah. But yeah, like Tovar, Goodman, Beck, Warming, Bernabel, Doyle. The rest of the guys are okay, but that heart of the lineup for the Rockies, these guys can mash the ball. We're talking, these guys are all capable of 450, 460-foot home runs against the lefty. If Lauer's not on his game, there's no question the Rockies could go crazy here. So I'm going to have way more Lauer than the field. I'm seeing him projected at 4% owned against this high strikeout lineup. I like Lauer, but I'm going to have some Rockies one-off, some stacks, and I won't be surprised to see them get to the home run ball here too. So perhaps no surprise because it's Coors Field, but I think both sides of the Lauer and the Rockies lineup, both of those sides, I think are lower owned than they should be. So I'll have a lot of this game obviously focused on the Toronto bat side, but I like Lauer some, and I like those Rockies right-handed power bats some as well.
And of course, don't let the fact that we're not going to be in Discord for the first few innings dissuade you from going in our Discord. There are so many benefits to being in our Discord. It's a great place to be to talk plays throughout the day. For instance, you got Joe Cole's play of the day at 10 o'clock this morning. He's playing Bailey Falter. Where else are you going to get that kind of endorsement in the DFS industry? Only here at Run Pure Sports. Big T, Warming Bernabel has been with us about a week now, and he looks like the next Babe Ruth. Uncle T is wondering if you know who Warming Bernabel is, and I'm sure you do because I'm sure you probably played the Rockies on Friday night, along with the Pirates. But talk to me about what you think about this game in Colorado tonight.
Yeah, he picked a bad name there. I mean, there's lots of names you can make fun of me for, but he's played like 10 Coors Field games.
It's just too memorable, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, that he's got to do better than that. Yeah. He's got more in the arsenal to make fun of.
More memorable than Mike Yastrzemski. I mean, Bernabel. Yeah.
I mean, the dude's played 10 games in Coors Field already. I've seen him plenty. But Lauer's the funny thing about Lauer, I've always thought he's another one of these frisbee throwers that I just don't like stacking against, and he's been good this year. I've stacked Colorado at Coors every freaking day, and I swear they've never been the winner for me. Like, they probably were this weekend versus Pittsburgh and something or other, but I honestly, I didn't play a ton of baseball this weekend. We do need to get that. I do want Game Log Monday. I'd wear that. I would wear that shirt every Monday if I could get my hand.
I would wear it. I would wear it Monday. I would wear it Tuesday. I would wear it. I'd wear it to bed with nothing else. Go on.
Yeah, correct. Now we're talking. Now we're cooking with grease. Yeah. I mean, I want some Game Log Mondays. We need that, and I'm going to get those made. I think because that's a good idea.
Uncle T, get on the artwork there, Uncle T.
I mean, Toronto, I don't know what else there is to say. We all agree. Yeah. The lineup is great. I mean, so the one thing I just never do in these spots is just go in and play 1 through 5. I don't think you really should do that just because of the way it goes. But the good thing about Saber Sim, if you run the Sims and stuff, it'll get you some random combinations in here where you got whatever it is, 6, 8, 9, 1, 4 type thing. And yeah, I mean, we should do that too for sure. Get some active bench use.
Maybe something with Game Log Monday on it that you could throw onto the court when you go to see the WNBA play.
I mean, Toronto though is I like Varsho at this price. Just who's going to be the lowest owned is what I want to know. If you guarantee me the 5 lowest owned, I think I would like that stack. It's just like Varsho's got to be lower owned just because of his price. There's a lot of outfielders, 6-hole. Everyone else, though, I mean, they're all going to be owned. So just pick your guys. And then Colorado, I'm torn on Colorado because I don't like to stack against Lauer. And the Rockies have just killed me, but I'm not going to full stack them anyway. So can I do a mini stack with our boy Warming and our boy Tovar, any of these guys? I could do a mini stack with Colorado. So so you want a name? I have no idea who Braxton Fulford is, though. You could have made fun of me about him. I don't know who that is.
Well, I don't think Uncle T knows who he is either. So I mean, there's in order to make fun, you got to have just kidding. I think he's like a backup catcher or something. So there you go. All right.
I don't mind him, though. A little backup catcher action.
All right. What about Kyle Farmer in the 9-hole? How exciting.
I think he's the worst player in baseball, so I don't like him.
All right. 3 games left. Go ahead. Drop any questions you have into the chat here. We're going to get through this. Give you some under-owned pitchers that we like. Give you the offenses that we're going to be most exposed to outside of Toronto, which we're all going to play at like half our lineups. But next game, Big T in Anaheim. The Rays head out there to take on the Angels. Adrian Hauser, 8,100. Yusei Kikuchi, 7,900. Thoughts on this game?
So Hauser's the guy that has been pretty solid, honestly. That's a nice little pickup for Tampa Bay, just to throw a guy like that in there. He's not amazing, but he's been solid. And I always like him way better against righties. And the Angels are built of all righties. So you have to like this matchup, right? I mean, they only have one lefty. I guess Moncada is probably a switch hitter, but like there's no lefties in here. So I don't see how the Angels are projected even as much as they are. Like I love the under for the Angels tonight. I don't see the runs. Moncada is really the only guy I like in the lineup. Look at the bottom of this thing. Yeah. I actually didn't think I was going to like Hauser even when I started this conversation at 8,100. But looking at this lineup, I think I do like him. I think I like him a decent amount too. I think I already pulled him out of my player pool because I wasn't planning on liking him but this lineup looks freaking awesome for him. At least to me, they got all kinds of right-handed power, but the bottom of the there's definitely I've never heard of that guy too, whoever that is, Bryce.
He's new for us too, Bryce Teodosio. So
never heard of her.
Yeah, can't say.
Yeah, I like Hauser. I like Doogie Howser a lot in this spot. And then the Tampa Bay side, Kikuchi's he's probably thrown more pitches than almost anyone this year. He goes 100 every game, it feels like, which is a luxury, honestly. You got a lot of pitchers that don't do that. I don't love to pick on Tampa, but they are more gettable versus lefties too. There's not a ton of guys I love. Morel I like. Camonero's just been an absolute beast. I like him. But Brandon Lau I don't like against lefties. Our boy Ha Dong Kim is good against lefties. So I do like a few guys against Kikuchi, especially, again, if you're 5-stack in Toronto. Maybe you get a little mini stack with Hao Dong and Morel or something. Those guys can hit a bomb off Kikuchi for sure. So I'm definitely on the Tampa side here more than the Angels. And I think Doogie Howser's climbing my board as we talk here.
DC, the biggest issue I have with Hauser is his first start with Tampa Bay. I have no idea how they're going to manage him. You would think that because he's a veteran that they picked up at the deadline, he wouldn't be subject to the same pitch limitations, inning limitations, but we just don't know how that's going to go with Kevin Cash in Tampa. And as far as Kikuchi, he's been a little bit unlucky. His estimators actually suggest that he should be getting better results than what he's gotten recently. What are your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I think Kikuchi, pretty good way to go. Our guy Boynton mentioning here, Tampa, they've struggled against lefties. Strikeouts are up, and they're one of the teams that, you take them out of that minor league stadium where it's always 90 degrees and humid in Tampa. And this is not a bad place to hit, but it is still a park downgrade for them. I'm not as afraid of this Tampa team outside of their home park. And yeah, Kikuchi, the fact that he gives you 90 to 105 pitches every time out, like Big T mentioned, you can't take that for granted for all pitchers. And frankly, most pitchers, you have to expect much less than that. So that does give him additional upside against a team that we know is pretty strikeout prone. So, you add the two together, right? You're going to get the 100 pitches. Most of these batters have swing and miss in their game. So that, I think, gives Kikuchi quite a bit of upside. He'll be owned like it, but I think he's pretty solid chalk at 8,100 or 7,900 rather. And then, yeah, it's not all it's not every Monday Big T talks me into a pitcher, but I think I might be joining him on the Doogie Howser train here. He looks kind of decent to me at 8,100. He was another guy I wasn't planning to be on, but yeah, a lot of strikeouts in this Angels lineup, just the two lefties like Big T mentioned. And Hauser has been pretty solid recently. And he was on the White Sox, right? Like maybe the stupidest organization, or one of them. I guess the Rockies would definitely be number one, but the White Sox are right there. I would kind of expect Hauser, or the Rays rather, to make some maybe tweaks in Hauser's repertoire and how he uses his pitches. It wouldn't shock me at all if Tampa Bay is able to improve him just as like general skill level, which hasn't been too bad anyway. So yeah, Hauser, especially at his ownership rate. Sabres got him down at 2.5%. If we're looking for a way to get a little bit different, right? Maybe we want to play the Blue Jays, but we need to get different somewhere. 2 or 3% on Hauser at 8,100 against a strikeout-prone Angels team. That feels pretty good to me as a way to differentiate your lineup a little bit, especially if you're on the chalk. So, yeah, I kind of like both these pitchers here. They make sense to me.
All right. Next game, 2 games left now. Next game in Arizona. This is the Padres heading in to play the Diamondbacks, DC, who traded a lot of their offensive talent at the trade deadline. JP Sears is going to make his first start for the Padres. He's 6K flat. Brandon Pfaadt, 6,600. Pfaadt did have a good game against the Padres earlier this season in San Diego, put up 23 fantasy points. But JP Sears, he has a 30% strikeout rate in the month of July, and now he's going to get the back end of this Diamondbacks lineup. It's not like they have no talent. It's not that they're some of these teams like, I guess, the Orioles look like now where you worry, but the back end is guys who really would not be here otherwise. That's very interesting to me. JP Sears at 6K as a potential pivot off of the highly owned Mike Soroka. What are you thinking about with this Padres Diamondback game?
Yeah, I'll start on the Brandon Pfaadt versus the Padres side. I'm kind of out on both sides there. Pfaadt at 6,600, pitching at home, okay options. Just the Padres just don't swing and miss enough. There's a bunch of lefties in there who have performed really well against Pfaadt over the course of his career. So I'm off of Brandon Pfaadt again. I don't think he's the craziest play, but don't love it. I do like some of these lefties. Merrill looks good to me. O'Hearn looks good. Not going crazy with the Padres, though, in Chase Field. And then, Sears, he gets traded out of, from the A's, obviously. That park in Sacramento, it was like kryptonite for a pitcher like Sears, right? Who doesn't miss a ton of bats, gives up a lot of fly balls, and you put him in that park, and it's just a tough place for him to pitch. But we've seen him pitch pretty well when in pitchers' parks and against a watered-down Diamondbacks lineup. They traded Suarez, who's one of the best lefty mashers in all of baseball. They traded Naylor, who's a really good contact hitter, a little bit of a do-it-all guy, and, replaced him. Look at once you get past the top four, look at the bottom five here. Tyler Locklear, James McCann, Blaze Alexander, Alec Thomas, and Jorge Barosa. I'm with you, JT. Sears feels like the safest cheap option on the board. I don't think he's going to go out and absolutely smash and, win you the slate, but he could allow you to get the bats in there that do. At 6K, I think he'll be a 5-6 inning guy for San Diego. I think that's the plan. He looks good to me at 6K. I don't really see a reason to get away from him. If you're trying to fit the big bats in, I think Sears is the safest way to do so. I do think Lauer has more upside, but I think Sears is far safer. I think he's a really strong play. So I'm in with you on the JP Sears train tonight.
Especially Big T when projections have the highest projection for any pitcher at 18.25. Not a terrible thing to try and take some shots on some of these lower priced guys on a night where we want to fit the expensive team in cores. What are you thinking about in the Diamondbacks and Padres?
Yeah, 100%. Some of the top pitchers, we don't have the guys that I consider just crazy upside. We don't have high projections at the top. We have guys that I like, but do we have guys that I have to have? No. I'm going to build, I'm going to put my offense in, kind of see what I like, and then come back to pitcher and see if I can fit the top guys. I'll definitely play them. But I'm with you. And Sears is another guy that I've always thought's more talented than he was showing there. And I love when guys go to teams with expectations. I didn't love all the Padres trades by any means. They definitely gave away a lot of guys. The one that didn't make any sense was the Furman deal. Just giving up prospects for a guy like that. But they went for it. You can't fault people just for going and just trading and seeing what they come up with. I don't think that's the worst thing ever, just to go for it, especially this year where baseball's kind of wide open. So I'm with you guys on Sears. A 6K does so much for your lineup, and he's capable of a big number, I think, too, against this lineup. Arizona's going to be a team that is really bad the rest of the year, I think. It's only a matter of time before they sit Marte and Carroll down and just go full-blown tank mode, and I think it's coming quick. So I'm going to go again. JT talked in the beginning of the show how we're going to go against people most of the rest of the year. That's how Arizona's going to be one of those teams for me. And they're going to sucker you in, too, because their prices are going to be crazy low for some guys. But they're just bad. Like Locklear, 2,400 in the 5-hole. That at least is a little interesting just because you can throw it in there, the price point. But they're just not going to win slates for you hardly ever. And the guys that could win slates for you are expensive. Are you going to play Marte and Carroll over the Toronto guys? I'm not going against him. So I just can't do it. Totally with you guys. I'll leave these cheap guys, all the 2K guys in my player pool, just because you never know when you got a 5-man Toronto with a couple good pitchers and you just need some bums in there with it. But I totally agree with you guys. Sears, San Diego, I'm not going to full stack them, but I like their lineup. They got a solid lineup top to bottom. They could definitely get some things going. A lot of guys they added at the bottom, O'Hearn, Laureano, Furman. They're healthy too. We don't have the lineup tonight, but they're getting more and more healthy. Machado's in. Everybody's in, right? Do they have anyone still out? Their lineup looks full strength coming into the second half.
Pretty much everybody's in, and then they added Ryan O'Hearn and Ramon Laureano, who's been really good this season. So don't forget, Diamondbacks also, they didn't have much of a bullpen to trade. They did trade away pieces that other teams coveted, so there's not a lot left there. So not a bad
Padres are probably a sharp pivot off of the Toronto, where some of those other earlier stacks, I think people will pivot. I just don't see a ton of people pivoting to San Diego, even though they got a 5.3 total on SaberSim. So I think it's an interesting spot, Sears and San Diego.
All right. Last game of the slate. Let's try and get through this quickly. I don't think we're going to love a lot here outside of at least one pitcher, maybe the other one a little bit. It's the game in Los Angeles. Sonny Gray and the Cardinals heading into LA. Gray 9,300 Big T. Tyler Glasnow coming off that down start in Cincinnati. Bit of a better matchup here at home against the Cardinals. 9,800 for Glasnow. Sonny Gray has been pitching great. He just hasn't been getting the results. His ERA is nearly 4 runs higher than his actual xFIP. So his estimators suggest that he should be getting good results. They're just not happening. What are your thoughts here on the Dodgers and the Cardinals?
Yeah, perfect example of a late game that I'm just not going to like much. Your price points are decent for the Dodgers, but the guys you'd want to play, I just don't love the matchup against Gray. Sonny Gray's a guy that I probably don't play a ton, but I also don't play against a ton. I just feel like he's solid to keep him down. I don't love the park. We have a slate where we love some offense out there. I just can't really get to this game. I will definitely have some Glasnow just because of the upside, but a lot like Fried, what you guys talked about, I don't need it. If I can get to it, I have no problem playing it whatsoever if I have a team that works, but I'm not forcing in Tyler Glasnow tonight. Not much in this game, though, besides the pitchers. I'll have a little bit of the pitchers.
DC, Sonny Gray over the last month, best xFIP of the slate. Of course, results have not matched that. What are your thoughts here on the Dodgers and the Cards?
Yeah, Sonny Gray, a tough one to figure out. I mean, the last 3 starts, he's given up 30 hits in 3 starts and 5 home runs. I mean, that is – you're going to be hard-pressed to find a pitcher that's given up 30 hits across 3 consecutive starts anywhere. I mean, he might be the only one that's done it all season long. So, and then you mentioned, obviously, the underlying metrics do look okay, so kind of hard to know what's going on with Sonny Gray. But, I mean, he's been hit very, very hard recently. Yep. It's this Dodgers team that we know can do a ton of damage. No Dodgers lineup yet. I think it might be coming out late. I think they're a little bit interesting as a super contrarian stack. They're very expensive, but Gray has struggled. No one's going to play them. And, we know what this Dodgers team is capable of. So I think they are one of the teams that could go off, especially if we don't get the lineup out early, which I think is possible. One really fun play, Max Muncy is almost certainly going to return from the IL tonight. He's still listed with the big IL spot on him next to his name on DraftKings. So nobody's going to play him. I just don't think people kind of aware he's coming back. But he was fantastic before he hurt his knee. Remember, he got the glasses, and he was like the best hitter in baseball before he got hurt over that last month. So I think he's, in particular, a really fun play at 4,100. But I like this Dodger stack definitely more than the field will. I like Glasnow too. Obviously, the rough start last time out, but I don't know. I kind of think Glasnow's results are just dependent on what he has, right? If he can throw strikes or not. If he can, I think he can strike out any lineup, including this Cardinals lineup. So I do have interest in Glasnow. I do think he is one of the few pitchers who could break the slate and put up 30 plus, get you 10 plus strikeouts. Not as safe in my eyes as Max Fried, but higher upside. So I will have some exposure to Glasnow. But I'm with Big T. He's not a pitcher that I feel like I need to get into my lineup.
First glance throughout the day, and I'll take another look here. We got lock in about an hour at 7:10. But first glance throughout the day, I found myself liking Glasnow a lot more than I like Max Fried. Just 9,800 for Glasnow seems like a better price than 10,200 for Fried. It's, again, that's anecdotal. But, again, also the matchup, how the Rangers are going right now versus the Cardinals team that's kind of getting ready to wrap things up for the season here pretty soon. So, all right. Cores are going to be up. The playbook's already up. Steve did that today, and that is awesome. We're going to have Big T's platoons up. The Boom Report If it's not up right now, it'll be up soon. And of course, JBC's player page and all the cores there. And everyone will be in Discord answering questions. But before we do that, we got to talk a little bit more about our favorite, most important pitchers and stacks to us. I'll start. I'm seeing 10% ownership on JP Sears. I'm considering tripling that, maybe a little bit more. So I think JP Sears is going to be pretty important to me tonight based on what I see from him and out of that D-backs lineup. DC, who's going to be your most important pitcher this evening?
I'm with you on the JP Sears train. I'll go with another cheap guy that I like, Eric Lauer against the Rockies. I think the strikeout upside is there for him. A ton of risk with Lauer for sure, but we're trying to, win a GPP with 40,000 people on DraftKings in the Big Five. So in those type of contests, I think Lauer at low price, low ownership, in my opinion, with big upside, makes a lot of sense as a contrarian option.
Big T, who's the most important pitcher to your success tonight?
It's got to be it's got to be Sears for me too. But just to give a different name, I think Hauser. Like I said, when I started the show, I kind of clicked some names around. I had no intention of playing Hauser, but then I dug in a little more as you guys were talking in the show, and I just love his matchup against this lineup. So I am going to spread pitcher around tonight. I want to be clear about that. Definitely going to spread it around. But Hauser would be my guy if it wasn't Sears.
No pitcher seems to be drawing more than 35 or, well, outside of Soroka, 38% for Soroka, perhaps higher, depending on where you're looking. So not a bad idea to get, exposure to 7-8 guys on this 9-game slate if you're playing a bunch of lineups. We'll stick with you, Big T. We're all playing the Blue Jays. Outside of the Blue Jays, who's going to be your most important offense tonight?
Yeah, like I said, I'm going to go heavy on the Blue Jays, but we all are. I think the Padres, again, another team that I wasn't planning on going into the slate. I was honestly planning on unchecking them when we went through it. But once we dug in deeper and I looked at the matchup, you talked about the bullpen in Arizona. I think it's the Padres. And I also wanted to tell everyone, too, the football packages are coming up tomorrow. I think either tonight or tomorrow they're going to be up. We got some great price points coming out, which we'll announce tomorrow as well. Cheapest prices we've had in a long time, or maybe ever. I don't know. I'm sure cheaper, maybe not as cheap as the first year, but cheaper every year after that. And you can still get the free week. Like, sign up for a free week right now. You got preseason later in the week, which Bruce and Rubio, just crushed last week. I know the game didn't go great. There were some weird touchdowns, but I thought the info was awesome, and you got a full week. I haven't looked at the exact schedule, but got to be Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I would assume this week. Bunch of preseason. But if you use that promo code, what is it, JBC 100K win, you get a free week. You sign up for a monthly package, you get a free week. If you don't like it, just shut it down. I think you'll like it, though. This is a good time of year. We got football back, like you guys said, 1 month away from regular season, 3 weeks away from college football, and we got preseason already here. So JBC 100K win, get you a free week. Check us out, and let's win tonight.
JSU confirms JBC 100K win. DC, who's the most important offense to you tonight other than the Blue Jays?
The Brewers. I think they're going to put a hurting on Eric Fedde. I think they're going to get going on the base paths. And I think the weather is going to hold up just fine in Atlanta for the Brewers and the Braves. So I'll go with the Brewers as my favorite non-Toronto offense on the slate.
You just made that one dude come in his undies. He's so happy, whoever that dude was early in the show.
Yep, he enjoyed the game logs on Game Log Monday, as you should. Again, weather here looks like just a little bit of annoying rain, so I don't think it's too big of an issue. I'm going to go with the Red Sox for my other team. I get that Bailey Falter is on a new team, yada, yada, yada. There's enough power in this Red Sox. They actually fit pretty well. If you pay down at pitcher, you play the Blue Jays, you can fit these Red Sox pretty easily. All right. Again, get in the Discord. Cores will be up. Check out the playbook and the Boom Report. For DC and for Big T, I'm JT. Good luck at your contest tonight.